Hi guys, this is the underfloor heating video. Some of the work has already been completed without being filmed due to the fact I'm new to YouTube, but hopefully I can catch you up in the beginning and you can join me while I get the rest of the system up and running. At the moment, as you can see, the wiring has just been thrown in, just while we prime the system up and make sure it's all working. None of this wiring is going to remain like this, it's all got to be put on a proper panel, but just to test the system, it just seems wise just to throw it in like this for now. As the hot water from the heater comes in underneath the van in this line here, it reaches this T section. Once it gets to the T section, it splits into two 16mm pipes. One 16mm pipe goes into the heater matrix and then back under the floor, enabling us to have a hot blown air. The other one goes straight under the floor and then they join up at the back. As I explained earlier, these are the pipes covered in heat bandage to try and keep the heat in. They run all the way underneath the van and come up underneath the passenger floor. This is a Thermotop C, which I'm using to heat the water, and this is an expansion tank. The water goes from the expansion tank into the heater, through the system, back to the expansion tank, back to the heater in a constant circle. Okay, so once the pipe work has come from the front of the van, it joins back in this T section here, enabling both 16mm pipes to go into this flexi pipe, which goes back into this 22mm internal diameter return pipe, which flows all the way around the van, as you can see, and ends up back going underneath the van where you saw earlier. So the next thing to do is to add the rear floor, but before I can do that, I need to cut an access hatch for where that join is. So later on down the line, if there was ever a loss of fluid, I could access the hatch just to check to see whether anything needs tightening or anything's come loose without having to rip out the whole of the inside of the van. So what you can see here are spacers. The reason I'm using spacers is because I'm laying a 4mm aluminium plate over the walkways to transfer the heat more effectively. We've ran the system up. It actually works really well due to the fact the aluminium plate acts like a radiator. Okay, so the airbox is in. It was relatively straightforward. It was quite a tight fit and a bit of a wiggle, but then once it was in, it went in quite nicely, leaving plenty of space. It just gets mounted to these three lugs here. Bolts go on, fits nice and secure. The heater itself is now in on its mount that we made. We made that with flat bar, just tapped into the bar to give threads so that I can use normal bolts just to bolt on the heat exchanger, and obviously the heater, all nice and secure now, looking nice and neat and tidy. So there we have it, all tidied up, waiting for the seat to go back on. As you can see, the tissue is still on the joins just to double check there's no leaks. Still got to make a battery holder to stop the battery from sliding around, but it's not its final resting place. It's just there for now whilst I check the system and run it all up. I'm going to obviously mount all the batteries in the back at the end, and then all of this will be controlled from a control panel. So, but for now, we're just going to keep it as it is, just to keep checking the system, and it's just a case of turning the thermostat on now, and you'll hear it prime at the front. There you go, you can hear the system priming. The fuel pump is down there clicking. and you'll hear the heater slowly start to pick up speed, and the exhaust comes out just under here. The aluminium plate is currently 18.5. We'll check in with it again in a bit and see what the temperature change is. And there we have it, guys. Roughly 30 degrees temperature for the floor, between 30 and 35 I'd say. The actual van itself is quite hot in here, nice and dry, and the heat is a dry heat throughout the whole van. So the underfloor heating system is clearly working perfectly. Well, there you go, 34.2. Nice and warm on your feet. Just for the record, the actual temperature on the thermostat is roughly 33 degrees, so only a couple of degrees in it for the thermostat to be working efficiently. So there we have it, an underfloor central heating system which is smooth, quiet, effective, and heats the van evenly, so there's no cold spots. Common misconception with any of these underfloor heating builds that I've seen is people are trying to heat the whole floor. There is absolutely no point in having hot cupboards, so focus all your heat on your gangways. This system works great. Any questions, please leave in the comments and I will try and get back to you as I can. Like and subscribe, guys, because I've got some more interesting stuff coming, like the bed and some other bits and pieces like external kitchen, etc. So please follow, see how you get on.